Memo, welcome to a Tuesday. It's Tony Kurre here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. A lot of people always ask me these questions about, I've been doing radio since I was 14 years old, so about 42 years. People always ask me questions like what's some of the best times you were on stage and what's some things that just got totally out of control. What are some of your situations that made you the most nervous? And I will tell you this, I've got a little Bette Midler in me. Where like if I don't get really queasy or freak out a little bit and my anxiety level doesn't go up, then I know I'm not going to perform well. So I always have to have just a little tinge of, are you ready? And I've got to be ultra prepared. I've got to have everything laid out in front of me or else I can't pull it off. And that goes for like just bringing on Leonard Skinner or doing something at a charity event or whatever. The minute I get on the microphone, the minute I start talking, I know I'm good to go, but it's always that first word that comes out. That's why some people just kind of pop it a little bit and they feel comfortable. So there's two things that still gives me that anxiety, gives me that pit in my stomach, and I got it this morning a little bit. Two situations, and again, I've been on stage in front of 85,000 people. I've brought Bruce Springsteen on stage, Chuck Berry, who is my idol. I got a chance to bring him on stage. I brought Sam Kinison on stage. I mean, I've gotten in front of a lot of people, and it's one of those things where you just got to grab it, because if you let them know that you're freaking out up there, they'll eat you up alive. So you just got to take it and run with it. But there are two different things that still bring anxiety to me today, these days. One is the comedy club. Bruce Ayers, very good friend of mine, love him. He gave me a chance to go on stage when I first got in town. I was not funny. I bombed horribly. I was terrible. I didn't have an act. I just got up there and tried to make people laugh. It's one thing about getting on stage and making people laugh when they're not expecting it. But I was always the funny guy. When I was on the opening round, with Jay and Al, and or the opening drive. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the next round. See, there you go. Whenever I was on the opening drive, we used to go out and do all these different functions and these different things, and one was doing the Comedy Club Stardome, and it's really easy to be on a show and be super funny when people aren't expecting it. So people knew I was the funny guy. I was the guy that was, sitting on billboards and riding camels and doing all those crazy things. And then I had my two guys next to me, Al and Jay, who were pretty laid back. And so it was easy to work off those guys, and they set me up. Those guys were some of my best radio partners I ever had. But then when you go to like a comedy club where they're expecting you to be funny and you're getting paid to be funny, man, the pressure is unbelievable. So when I think of the Comedy Club Stardome and I got to get up on stage, I feel like I'm going to puke. The other thing is SEC Media Days, which of course started yesterday in Atlanta. Alabama's up today. Man, they are loaded. Bryce and Will Anderson, this guy's going to be on. They're going to have a great season. It certainly didn't end the way they wanted to last year. And then, of course, the Auburn Tigers with Coach Harsin will be on Thursday. But I remember going into the Winfrey because, we did like 13, 14, 15 of these things. And we were always at the Winfrey. And I like getting there early before anyone else did. But it was Radio Row. We call it Radio Row. For people who don't know, Radio Row is like just a row of radio stations. I think there were like 35 or 40 at one time in the Winfrey. I've done them for the Grammys. I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've been in New York. I've been at the Olympics with Radio Row. So I've done these Radio Rows. And when you're around a bunch of other radio people, there's some real knuckleheads. Because they're trying to be jocular and they're trying to be funny and they're trying to get all the attention and stuff. And I just kind of wanted to do a great show. And if I was funny, great. And if I could pull it off, and certainly with all the guests and stuff we had on. But SEC Media Days, there were several times where I always took a vacation in July with my dad and my brother to go to Vegas. And so sometimes I was just coming back from a Vegas trip, which was rough. Because if you ever go to Las Vegas, it takes you like 3 weeks to kind of get back in your brain a little bit when you get back. You're like, what the hell just happened? You're so oversensitized by everything going on. The second thing is we were the only radio station, and that was Jocks, that had Nick Saban on. And Nick Saban would come through in the mornings, and of course he'd go upstairs and do his talk and stuff in front of the media and stuff. But we were the only radio station that he'd actually stop by and talk with every time we had SEC Media Days. And Coach Saban and I, he knew I wasn't a player. He ultra respected Aldo Greco and Jay Barker. And here's this Tony Kurre guy, Tone the Bone, this classic rock guy trying to do sports radio. What the hell are you doing on this radio station? Sometimes we would always joke that I'd be sitting in a puddle of my own urine after Nick Saban came through because he freaked me out. Sometimes he'd shake my hand, sometimes he wouldn't. I think he respected the fact that I was a radio guy, but as far as it being at SEC Media Days, so I still get that anxiety a little bit whenever I hear SEC Media Days. It freaks me out a little bit, man. I'm sitting there this morning kind of like shaking a little bit. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of people say, man, how great is that? You get a chance to meet all these great coaches and all these great players, and certainly fan base comes through. We always try to put on the best show we possibly could do, and the fact that we were there at 6 a.m., there was a lot of coaches and stuff that didn't come monitoring in at about 8:30, 9 o'clock. So sometimes we'd have shows where we didn't have any guests at all. We'd be interviewing other radio people, but it was super cool. But those two things, man, the comedy club, every time I go to the comedy club, but I haven't been back in a while, but every time I get in there and I hear the microphone goes on, it freaks me out, man. If I have to get on stage there, I need to face my fear here. And the other thing, of course, SEC Media Days. Every time I remember going to SEC Media Days, parking in the garage and walking up and just like feeling this pit in my stomach, it's unbelievable. By the way, everyone's going to be there. So it's going to be great. I love the fact that it moved a little bit, but I do miss it being here in Hoover because we were the Mecca. We were the alpha dog when it came to the SEC Media Days. But now, of course, it's at the College Football Hall of Fame. So great stuff. Hey, listen, thanks again for watching this morning. Don't forget to download the TKR app. It is a Tuesday, which means it's Adapt or Perish Tuesday. We have a show called Adapt or Perish. Great show. You don't adapt in life, you're going to die. With Dr. Alex Hubline and Dr. Josh Claypo. We do that show every single Tuesday. Wednesday is Live Wire Wednesday and Mission Minded with Michael Coleman. That shows are going to be going off all day tomorrow. Thursday, we have Blues Almighty with Austin Hanks. We have a great show called When in Rome with Stuart Rome. It's a great show, make you look good, feel good, and sound good. Great show with Kip Kiefer. I recorded it yesterday. He doesn't want to do a political show, but he talks a lot of politics, and I love it. And of course, he's along with his good friend Terry Quillian. She's going to join him coming up at 2 and 6 on Friday. It's a great show, fresh new show. Also, of course, the Damon Johnson show. He's on the road with Leonard Skinner throughout the weekend. So the summertime, getting ready for his brother Kane reunion later this year and next year. And again, go to Spotify, search Spotify, Tony Kurre Radio, Kurre with a K, and you can hear and watch all of our shows right there on Tony Kurre Radio's Spotify podcast platform. It's great. Check out the TKR app. I promise you're going to love it. It's classic rock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now I'm going to get over my SEC Media Days queasiness. Have a great day. Love you.